Peace to the family, peace to the family. So today is July 14th, 2020. Here we are in the middle of the Plandemic, right? Mid-year. And things are getting real thick and interesting as we can see. Things are transpiring and unfolding right before our eyes. All the ghettos all over the country is completely out of control since just the funding of the police or law enforcement. And we have to sit back and we have to look at this analytically and say to ourselves, you know, what is law enforcement? What is their purpose? You know, we know that they were the slave patrolmen. They were there to capture and bring back any runaway slaves or keep any slaves from congregating to try to escape. And now they're here to patrol land, property, and commerce. 3 things, right? And those 3 things is what they're here to protect and serve, not here to protect and serve me and you per se. But when any violence happens on the landowner's property, the property value goes down. So thus, they have to make sure and keep me and you from killing each other. But the way you know they're here to protect those 3 things I said is if me and another individual have a grievance and we decide to sign contracts and have a fist fight, right? It's pay-per-view, this, that, and the third. Let's say it's one of the greatest fights that people really want to see per se, for example, right? The same law enforcement that would have arrested you prior without contracts being drawn up, they'll be there guarding the venue. What is that about? You see what I'm saying? And if they're here to really protect and serve me, then I need them to lock up the landowner who have me under these lack of opportunities, predatory lending, all these different things that stifles my advancement in the society. It keeps me from being able to do the process of wealth calcification or intergenerational wealth to my children's children. Because true wealth is when your grandchildren's grandchildren is living off of your wealth. You know what I'm saying? Am I in that position? No. Do I look to be in that position? Yes. How do I get in that position? It's a long process. And you got to jump through a lot of hoops, and you got to be very strategical and mathematical and realistic about the circumstances and what you're actually in the middle of. You know what I'm saying? These are things that we have to look at. So with police being defunded, back to the point is that we see the violence surging in every city, every ghetto in America. So you have COVID that might kill you allegedly. You have Ebola that might kill you. You have the swine flu that might kill you, right? You have all these different waves of things coming. You have white militia, you have the KKK, you have law enforcement, and then you have black on black crime, right? So the plot thickens and she's gaining a lot of weight. How do you deal with this weight that's being gained? You know, you can't convince somebody to know something that can only be known by themselves. So what I try to do is align myself with alike people that we don't share the exact same point of view, but it's a similar point of view. And then you try to build from there to aggregate, to coagulate your finances together, to coagulate ideas, right? To try to build what's an actual community. And that's something that's really lacking for our people, as melanated people, as so-called quote-unquote black people, right? So, you know, these are things that we have to be able to look at and to assess to, you know, I have a saying, critical thinking reigns supreme, right? It's really the only way out of figuring things out. You have to break it down, then you have to put it back together. You have to break it down, look at it from another angle, then put it back together, right? And so this is what I try to do to try to see through things rather than just seeing the outer shell of something, of a scenario or situation. So, you know, the elections are coming in November. Things are getting thicker. We haven't even began to warm up yet. We barely doing jumping jacks right now with everything that's happening. It's one thing after another. It's one wavelength after another, you know, but it's not a wide wavelength. It's a very thin wavelength. It's one wavelength back to back to back to back to back, right? And so all you can do is really align with alike people right now and continue to build your mind, build your spirit, build your physical, right? Build your health. Because all the things that are coming, you have to be prepared, because there's no timeouts in this game. This game not playing with you, so you can't be playing with this game in the middle of this plandemic, what I call it anyway. Some people say it's not a plandemic. Okay, we could call it a pandemic. It's just wordplay and lexicon, you know what I'm saying? You know, it's semantics, if you will. But I think at the end of the day, we would all agree that none of us have ever seen a scenario like this in our lives, you know? So we talked about the problem, right? And so you have to also problem, reaction, solution, PRS. So we talk about the reaction now, or we're speaking about the reaction rather. How do you react to this? I just stated that. You got to build your mind, you got to build your body, you got to build a spirit, right? You got to build your finances in whatever way you see fit, because everyone's situation is different. That's why it's called the subjectiveness of your experience, right? My experience is not your experience. My POV is not your POV, right? So I don't expect you to see things my way, and I'm not going to see it your way. But we should be able to meet somewhere in the middle to be able to agree that, okay, I kind of see what you're saying, you know, even if I don't agree with it fully. And you have some people that they're just your air likes naturally. You don't have to really break down a whole long dissertation to them, and they automatically see what you see. You know, I think one of the most powerful things is to be able to agree to disagree without mudslinging and, you know, throwing names out there. I once did that at one time, but at my age right now, I'm beyond all of that. You see what I'm saying? So I think being able to learn something from even people that you disagree with is imperative, and it builds your totality. You know, you are the unknowable, and then you have things that are known and unknown, right? So as the unknowable, you're constantly trying to bridge the distance of experience of things that are unknowable, and you're trying to slide them into the known. And in the known is where self-discovery comes in. So even this whole thing is all a process of discovery of self and how you gonna handle certain situations. You see what I'm saying? But I think that no matter what point of view you take to deal with this situation, it's still personal, and it's still part of your transformation, right? It's still part of your development, and can't nobody tell you how to go about dealing with it, because it's still subjective to you. Right? There's no objective way to really deal with this. Yes, the reality has an objectiveness to it, but it's being viewed from POV, personal point of view, or PPOV, right? So, you know, I implore all of y'all to hang in there, man, because I'm hanging. You know what I'm saying? I don't know no other way but to do that and march forward. You see what I'm saying? You know, respectively. So, salute, and I'm going to end on that note.